Knoll Nation, welcome in to another episode of the Renegade Rundown with yours truly, George Georgitis, creator of the Renegade Report, and my lovely and beautiful co-host, as always, Jen Santee, aka Jen Knoll 2013. You can find her on Twitter at Jen Santee 1890. I haven't looked at the list, but this is a pretty fun show, guys. We get to celebrate hitting 1,000 subscribers. The last looked, we're at 999, so we should be there right now. We have a ton to talk about. People like it's impending doom, Armageddon coming for Florida State football because exactly what we told you was going to happen is happening, and they're making room for talent to get in. But before we get into all that stuff, how's it going, Jen? How are we doing today?
Oh, it's good. It's good. Kids got out for fall break, so I don't know how great that is, but
You've
you
got a
know,
house full, huh? They help
I
you with
do.
everything but like your job, huh?
They don't help with anything.
Just nothing, huh? Just tearing
No.
stuff up and raising
Yes.
heck, raising Cain.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine, man. I just got my little puppy Lucy, and she has her moments, but for the most part, it's not too stressful. But we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this, and real
Hey,
excited
this
to
is
be here.
way more fun. Way more fun.
Nice little escape, huh?
It is. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I gotta go. Y'all can't bother me either.
So the Twitter is like, I don't know if everybody that follows this show is on Twitter, but if you watch Twitter, if you follow
Mhm.
some of these, other YouTube podcasts, Locked On Seminoles, to name a few, it's like the world is coming to an end because we've got
Mhm.
all these transfer guys hitting the portal. Well, guys, I'm going to run down this list before I cut it over to Jen and we go back and forth on this thing, okay? Here are your transfer portal entries thus far for the Florida State Seminoles. Quayshawn Sapp, Bless Harris, CJ Campbell, wasn't even a scholarship guy, DJ Lundy, Rodney Hill, Preston Daniel, Malcolm Ray, AJ Duffy, Ayobami Tufase, Thomas Schrader, Daughtry Richardson, Marcuston Douglas, Dylan Brown Turner, Winston Wright Jr., Tyler Keltner, and Dwayne Wells. Okay, of those 15, 16, 17 names, how many of those names were going to be a factor in Florida State's playoff run that they were supposed to have had? Marcuston Douglas was a nice piece. I
Yeah.
don't want to see Marcuston go. DJ Lundy, he's good
Yeah.
depth as a
I
linebacker,
know.
but
That's the one
he's
that I
not
didn't
gonna.
like.
They're not gonna ante up on an exit interview and be like, DJ Lundy, like you're ready to be the next great linebacker at FSU, and we're gonna make you our top paid linebacker to come support you next year. That's not the kind of player he is. I've loved to see his development and everywhere he's come. But guys, we're bringing in around 30 high school kids. We've got the number 3 high school recruiting class in the land. We have brought in a top recruiting class every single year. Okay. And the people that want to, cry me a river about we haven't got the pick of the litter because of one defensive end commit somewhere. We have the top 2 quarterbacks in the entire portal on multi visits, basically the entire week of this week, the penultimate week, the first week. It's when you really got to make your calls and get the top players. And we've got the 2 quarterbacks in all the portal basically having a throwing competition on campus in the Moore Center, in the IPF. You've got 2 alpha males and they're battling out the 2 guys that everybody in the nation wants. And people think the sky's falling. Can you talk some sense into them, Jen?
No. I tried. I tried. I was trying to be really nice today. Um, it's just I think with the undefeated season, people just thought it was going to be like you could just be greedy, right? And everybody is going to come to you. You'll get every recruit, you'll get everything. But that's just not the way it works, you know? And they don't have to be so picky. They don't have to be picky. So, and I think people just don't get that.
Yeah, you gotta create roster depth. Okay. Here's the thing. Everybody wanted Mike Norvell to take this team from a whatever it was, 40% blue chip ratio, up to the top echelon. We want 60, we want 70%. We want these 4 and 5 star high school guys to come in. So how are you going to bring these guys in if you don't make room? Of all these guys, I don't think a single one of them was like a consensus 4 star. There was one or two that were like composite 4 stars, but like these are 90% 3-star guys, and you're bringing in this giant class. So are you going to keep a fourth, fifth, 6 year developmental 3-star guy, or are you going to bring in a fresh guy who you think, out of high school, this class? I've got it up on the thumbnail there. I mean, we're bringing in 50, like it doesn't make any sense. You want one thing and then you get it, and then you just jump to the other thing and complain about it. It really makes you wonder if it's sincere or just, clickbait nonsense, or people trying to rile up controversy that isn't there. But yeah, it's all a part of the plan. Mike Norvell is flipping this roster. Derek Gray, what he's done as the quote unquote general manager of this roster, is out of this world. And it's the same exact thing as everybody freaking out about towards the end of the year, the end of the transfer portal last year. We had those 4 or 5 guys, Derek McClendon, Travis Jay, go to Colorado, and everybody's, oh no, it's the end of the world. But how did that turn out? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying, Jen. I'm trying to be nice, but there's only 85 scholarships. When you do the math, 30 high schoolers, and you want to bring in 5 to 10, I've said 10 plus transfer portal guys. Everybody in the nation has told me I'm crazy. Florida State doesn't need to do that anymore. They're only going to bring in 5 or 6. Well, okay, so if you're one of these people that have been saying all along it's only going to be 5 or 6, you want to bring in 30 high school guys plus 5 or 6 transfer portal guys. That gets you at 36 scholarships. That's damn near half of all your scholarships. I don't understand how they think you could possibly fit those guys without guys leaving.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it has to happen. So you need depth, obviously, but that's what they're bringing the portal guys in for. Some of them is going to be depth. Some of them is going to be reserved. But I think, I think these fans see Miami making flips and doing this and that, but they've been doing this shit for years. And yet, what does it produce on the field? Losers. And guess what it's going to do next year? And I don't care what quarterback they can get. You could get Tom Brady back there, and Mario is going to screw it up. I'm telling you that right now. Y'all need to calm down, stop freaking out. I mean,
what is it you call Mario? You was trying to tell him on the roll up about Mario Cristobal, and they were trying to deny
he's
it.
He's a quarterback killer. He's a quarterback killer.
Preach, my lady. And they're falling off the board.
True.
Real Rodgers just committed somewhere. Who are they going to get?
Well, I think they might get Will Howard, or they might get, I guess, Cam. But I mean, Cam has to know. He has to have somebody in his ear that says, you go there, you're going to lose draft stock. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. Please see TVD. Please see TVD. If anybody doesn't believe me, that dude was like in consideration for a Heisman before Mario ruined his life.
Yeah, no doubt. He
used to go throw balls at Wisconsin.
Is that where did he land over there?
Yes.
I didn't see that. I thought for sure he was going to go to SMU. That would have been the best FU to Miami ever.
I think their quarterback was going to come back, right? Their quarterback got hurt, and I think he was coming back, unless I'm wrong about that.
But no, and I saw one of the comments in there, but I lost it. Look, another thing about the portal, and people all upset about the Georgia Tech, DN not going to Florida State. This portal thing, we got Keon Coleman in the second period. We've gotten a lot of guys at the end of this period. And another thing that people don't talk about is a lot of these guys are going to play in their bowl game. They may be on a team that plays the bowl game, somewhere a little after signing day, one of those way before, or, it might be one right before New Year's Eve. There may be guys, and there are, I know for a fact, a ton of guys who have not hit the portal yet, period. So people just need to calm down, sizzle down. Florida State is still the premier portal destination in the nation. If you're worried about South Carolina signing a guy, it's like if it was life or death, a player that FSU absolutely had to get, if you think we would lose to South Carolina, who has basically been our farm system for the past 2 or 3 years, I got waterfront property to sell you in Arkansas.
I had somebody get mad at me because they had said, look, Florida State had this dude in there and they lost him and he commits to South Carolina. I was like, maybe we told him he needed more time, in a lesser league, and then we'll pick you up next year. Maybe in the spring. The portal opens back up in April. Let his ass go there and practice. do what they do normally, and then maybe we'll take them at another time. We'll
Look,
see. I
look,
mean,
a lot of these guys don't know whether they're part of the plan for next year. You didn't have a bunch of these slam dunk 10, 15, 20 coaches got fired, and there's just a mass of these quality people on the market. There's not a ton of these diamonds in the rough from the super low levels like a Jared Verse to pick anymore. They've been picked clean. This thing has been rolling. It's moving closer to an actual free agency. And that's why you see they're kind of concentrating on the quarterbacks. Once this quarterback thing plays out, watch and see what they do. And also, we've only been bringing 16, 17, 18 high school kids in the past 2 or 3 years. This year, what are we doing? We're bringing in, again, close to 30. So this staff is having almost double the high school players to check on, to keep in this class. On top of that, you've seen the 15 guys hit the portal. But what have they done with a guy like Patrick Payton when he hung his name out there? They handle business. They got him back in the class. They put out, they don't negotiate on social media. Of course, Ingram Smith, what he does at the battle's end. If you're not subscribed to the battle's end and you're complaining, look, I'm not going to be mean. Some people can't afford it and you love the Knowles. I'm not going to be an ass about it. But if there's any way you can afford it and you're not, contributing as a booster or to battle's end, you really don't have much to stand on. To be honest. So go over there and get signed up. But they are not going to let their key contributors walk. And what they have done in retainment, bringing 87% back last year of the production, and what's lost into this is no production leaving outside of a Bless Harris or one of these type of guys who just, they produced, but they were not, he came from Lamar, guys. This isn't some, giant 5-star that you had to keep on campus. Jeff Hill comes in with another super chat. I'm totally calm. I have 100% trust in our coach and our coaching staff to get the job done. We could not agree more with you, Jeff. Absolutely.
Agreed, Jeff. So, George, how are you feeling on the quarterbacks today? What are your thoughts?
Man, Jen, I think I have kind of flipped.
Did you come to the DJ? Did you come over to the DJ side?
I was all in on Cameron Ward, and I kind of stand on my thoughts on him as a player and stuff. But the turnovers, I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah.
I did not.
See, Kenny brought that up on the roll-up last night. He was like, which one's the one with the turnovers? And I was like, that's Cam. And he goes, ooh.
Absolutely. We had talked about that earlier in that day. And then, like you said, Kenny brought it up. I mean, it's like, what is it, 35 turnovers in the past year, a shit ton of fumbles. The fumbles is the one that gets me because
17 fumbles. 17.
Say what you want about not having an offensive line. And you heard Kenny say it. He's like, dude, I'm a skinny motherfucker. Like, excuse my language, but, that's a mindset. Fumbling is a mindset. That's a toughness thing. Like, to have that many. Like, Dalvin Cook had a spurt where he was carrying the ball a little funny and he had a couple fumbles, but then what? Then he got his shit together and he didn't fumble for like 2 years or something.
Who was it that used to fumble all the time for us? I can't remember.
Well, I mean, Dalvin Cook had a bad stretch of fumbles.
Yeah, but this was a while ago. I want to say it was a fumble on the Georgia Tech goal line that lost the game.
Ooh.
Do you remember what I'm talking about? This was a long time ago. If somebody can tell me who that player was, I would appreciate it. I want to say either, is it Marcus Thomas? Mark?
You've got me stumped on this one.
Yes. Oh, man. Can't remember.
Yeah, he kind of carries that thing like Mike Vick. So, look, at the end of the day, I'll take either quarterback. But, yeah, I'm reserving judgment. I'm to the point where whoever Mike Norvell and Tony Tokars decide is who I want. And it really feels like I talked about a little bit earlier if you weren't in the stream. It feels like, you've got two alphas in the building, two of the top. I mean, how often does that happen that guys cross paths? Everybody's telling us we're crazy, telling Jen she doesn't know what she's talking about when she was one of the first people on Tuesday or Wednesday to say he was visiting. Not one, but you have the top two quarterbacks in the portal, like crossing paths, multi-day visits. I mean, that is just alpha shit. I mean, it's unreal. Like, there's no position. We didn't have to go for a quarterback last year. So, of course, we didn't concentrate this much time and energy on it. We had Jordan Travis coming back.
Yeah. I mean, well, somebody said Marcus Sims. Was that him? I don't think that was it him? Maybe it was. Okay, maybe it was him.
I'm completely, I'm lost, but That
I could have
I
sworn it was that Thomas
don't
last
even
name, but I could
remember
be
that
wrong.
name.
Who ran into him that
Jermaine
caused
Thomas.
Jermaine? That was it, I think.
I don't remember him
Or was
particular
it
being
Marcus Sims?
fumbleitis,
Now I'm confused. Mm.
but
Oh
yeah,
well, it's not that big of a deal. It
the
was very long
transfer,
ago.
yeah, the transfer portal. Florida State is going to get their guys. Just settle down. Once they get either Cam Ward or DJU, whoever it is, decides to commit to the Seminoles, the rest of this class is going to, it's going to fall together. Florida State, they're just going to do what they're going to do. If you don't trust Mike Norvell and the transfer portal and the way they've done this thing, I don't know what to tell you. We got another another super chat in from Plant the Spear, our buddy Jesse Koger, $10 super chat. Congrats on hitting 1,000 guys. Keep up the great work. Go Noles, absolutely. And if you aren't subscribed to Plant the Spear, get over there. Those guys join us from time to time, and they really know your stuff. If you're into like the analytical side of things and numbers and really breaking stuff down, getting into the nuts and bolts of college football, him and Michael over there do an absolute great job at plantthespear.com and over here on YouTube. But Justin Irvin says it was one of them. Don't think it was Jermaine Thomas. Yeah, we're not trying to slander anybody, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Getting back to Cam Ward, to where you just, it just worries you, and when you look at the wins versus the two, which has been more of a winner, DJU, as much as you hate it, he roasted FSU's butt when he was there. And you see him at he was at Wazoo and they made all these plays and were in these tough games against all these Pac-12 teams, but did they win?
And you want to talk about a bad offensive line.
Is it like 19 FSU bad, or are we talking? How bad is it over there for him?
It's pretty bad. Or my straw just broke. My good straw, man. I hate when that happens.
All right, so another thing, and we'll get back to the portal. You guys, always keep your questions coming in the comments. After we hit all our topics, we usually do a call-in portion show at the end, usually around the hour mark. That is when we are going to give away a $50 Cash App credit today, and also a pack of Florida State Seminole, the 2023 college football team trading cards. Supposed to be one of the cards out of the pack is guaranteed to have a signature. I'm going to be 100% honest. The wording of it is a little confusing. I'm not sure if it's one pack out of the case has a signature or if each pack has, but if it doesn't have the signature in there, get with me. But it's supposed to have one signature, one autographed card in that pack of 13 cards, and the cards themselves are freaking awesome. So we will get 2 lucky winners, so we could get 2 people involved in that. One person will get $50 and the other one will get those awesome FSU trading cards. But Donald Ungiralt, I'm sorry, man. I did my best. It's kind of small here on my screen, buddy, but I need to look closer. But Hancock may have confused to breaching the agreement that created the college football by referring to the ACC as a so-called power conference. And like I said, we'll get back to transfer portal stuff later, but we have got to talk about this because you want to talk about infuriating and the college football playoffs just continuing. And I mean, just continuing to stick their foot so far deep down the back of their throat, like it's coming out of their ass. He comes out and says all this stuff. The first half of it, the first part of it, and we can read part of it if you want, but after we get Jen's reaction, but he comes out and pretty much says, oh, well, Florida State and it's, there's 13 other undefeated teams, he said, in the history of the college football playoff. It's just that Florida State is the first of the quote unquote so-called Power 5 conferences. When they created this playoff, that is their language. Mm-hmm. This is literally like what they came up with. Power 5 conference championships, undefeated records, strength of schedule, strength of record, not just strength of schedule, out of conference scheduling. We check the boxes in everything. And he calls our conference basically group of, and on top of that, challenges our scheduling and says, schedule they don't all line up. Meanwhile, last year we played the SEC West champion. This year we play the reigning SEC West champion, who only goes on to win lose another 2 games all year. One to an Ole Miss game in an absolute shootout, crazy game, and another against Alabama. So if they hadn't lost to us LSU would probably be number 5 or number 6 with people making an argument they got a shot to get in the playoffs since they lost to
And they
Bama.
probably would. And they probably would let them in. And they probably would. And they probably would.
But we're so cold. All right, so you are in luck. We have got you taken care of, Jen. If it will let me throw it up on the screen here. Kev has got you. Buy Jen a new straw. Congrats on 1K. So we will figure it out. We'll get you. We'll get that over there to you, and we get you a we'll get you a FSU straw there off of Amazon Prime or something like that. We really appreciate it, Kev. He's one of the guys that's been on damn near every live stream we have done for the past couple of months. So we really appreciate it, Kev. Always keeps the jokes coming. And another one right behind it, man. You guys are killing it with the super chats. Totally Noel, $10. Congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. Again, it's probably up. Who knows where it is now? We really appreciate you guys. We were at 998 when we started this thing. So everybody hit that like and subscribe. And also go make sure you follow Jen on Twitter at JenSanti1890. But what do you think? I mean, I know we've talked about this shit ad nauseum, but I mean, Bill Hancock, what has he done? I mean, where are we? I mean, how much worse can they get?
Honestly, I can't believe the wording he used. I cannot believe this man sat down, typed out this letter. Well, had his assistant type out a letter that he signed, looked at the wording and said, you know what? This sounds good to send to a U.S. senator. It was very condescending. It was very passive aggressive. I can't imagine them sending that really to anybody other than the state of Florida. I'm telling you that right now. Like, I just don't see it. That was to say so-called Power 5. Where is Jim Phillips right now? I need to know, because I said on Twitter today, I think he's probably christening a new field for women's lacrosse at Wake Forest and doesn't give a crap about what's going on here, because that is ridiculous. Not to disparage any female lacrosse players in here. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is...
We love you. We love you, women's lacrossers out there.
Yes, we do. But what I'm saying is that idiot only cares about the stupid North Carolina schools that do nothing. And here he is just, wandering around like he's lost.
He's a lame duck, man.
He's the meme of Beetlejuice when they say, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, nothing. Just hanging around. I mean, that's what he's doing, because he's not doing anything else. He's not doing anything else.
Just hanging around. That is a clip. We're going to load that clip up.
Yes.
The Beetlejuice clip.
His face on it.
I promise you guys, we're going to have the Beetlejuice clip loaded up for Sunday's live stream with Zach Smith, and we get to talking about this committee. We will play that son of a gun. But I know that everybody on here, a lot of you guys are working all day. You're watching us on your TV. You're unwinding. You're getting your nose, finding out what's going on in Old Nation. So we're going to read this damn letter to you guys so you can understand what the hell we're talking about and why we're so upset about it. It's just an absolute joke. But this is the reply from the College Football Playoff Committee to Rick Scott. Like Jen said, somebody who's a part of our government, an elected official, a senator, a U.S. senator.
Regardless of what you feel about him, I mean, I'm not trying to get political on that. I would prefer Matt Gaetz to maybe take it over, because he seems to be able to.
Well, with a mom who worked for the state for 25 years and then retired as in the corrections field. Yeah, no love lost for Rick Scott. He basically he came in and slashed all the state's benefits. Like she had 20 years of retirement built up, like 3,000 hours she was supposed to cash in. It's like, oh, we got to use them up before you retire. Can't cash them in anymore.
I mean, I'm just saying he's
$100,000 down the drain.
He would be one of those people that would cover for the committee more than like take them down. That's why I said, get Matt Gaetz in there. I know I'm not trying to be like political or anything, but anybody who could just take out the Speaker of the House on his own, go do it. Just go do it. Go do it. Brad Scott would be like, sure thing, like, yeah, you're my best friend. No. Get somebody in there who will actually do it.
Well, he'll stop. It'll be like that Painkiller movie. All of a sudden, Rick Scott he'll stop, drop trowel for the College Football Playoff in a few years. After he's done with the government, you'll see him pop up on the College Football Playoff Committee like the next Condoleezza Rice. But I agree. Brad Futrell, my guy, man, he calls in from time to time. $20 donation. He didn't even throw a message out there. So we appreciate you for donating, Brad. We
Thanks,
sure
Brad.
appreciate it, brother. But yeah, I'll read this thing to you. It's pretty just
Okay, sorry.
unreal how crazy and cocky he is with this thing. He says, I am Bill Hancock, executive director of the College Football Playoff, responding to your letter to Boo Corrigan, director of athletics at North Carolina State and 13-person playoff committee. Knowing how busy you are, thank you for very much for taking the time out of your busy day to write about college football. I know the decision to rank 4 teams above Florida State University is disappointing to you and Florida State supporters, and I'm happy to provide you with the information on this decision. He goes on to say the committee, which consists of 13 college football experts. Now, depending on whether you even want to call the coaches that are in that damn thing experts, there's only what, 2 or 3 coaches, and the rest are just, to call them experts is a slap in the face to any college football expert. I don't know what in the hell makes Condoleezza Rice a college football expert, but that's what he says. He goes on to say how it was discussed extensively, and he gave some points here about why they picked FSU number 5. The protocol requires the committee to take into consideration unavailability of key players. Of course, this may affect teams' performance during the postseason. Simply put, Florida State is not the same team without its star quarterback. So we're not going to argue this bullshit because we've went on this ad nauseum. They were already talking about putting us out. And if you're saying we're a different team, then why the fuck are we ahead of Georgia? And why are we ahead of all these Oregon, all these other teams that you guys say that are better than us? It makes no sense. But this is the one that we're about to hammer on. This is the one that I'm so mad my head could pop off. Okay. FSU's strength of schedule was not as strong as the 4 teams that were ranked ahead of them. What? Michigan's strength of schedule was tougher than Florida State's? On what fucking planet?
Anybody want to go peep what the strength of schedule is that they keep talking about, where Alabama's 5 and Florida State's 55? Anybody want to go see who's at the top of that list?
Tell them. Tell the folks who it is.
It's like Iowa or something.
It's a joke. Strength of record, the one that takes into consideration, the opponent, who you played, all of that stuff. We're number 3. Which, 3.
By the way, they never said that it was strength of schedule when they made that announcement. That was never, ever said.
No, this is why this is the part I'm so mad about. But here's they clearly said all 4 better schedules than Florida State. Now, remember, week 1, Florida State played the reigning SEC West champion I accidentally pulled up basketball. It's basketball season, folks. But they scheduled the reigning SEC West champion, first game of the season. And we'll see who Michigan played the first game of the year. Here, if I can ever get it pulled up. East Carolina. Wow. Okay. So week 2, Florida State plays Southern Miss. Who played Michigan? UNLV. We'll call that one a wash. Week 3, Florida State was what? BC, something like that. Bowling Green. They played Rutgers next. Then they got Nebraska. Then they got Minnesota. Then they got Indiana. Then they got Michigan State. I'm extremely confused on how Michigan's schedule is harder than Florida State's. Is there anybody out there in the comments that believes that? It's unreal.
No. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
If being undefeated without regard to a team's strength of schedule was part of our protocol, other universities with other records would have routinely been considered for the playoff. There have been 8, counting Florida State, undefeated teams that did not make the playoff. Okay, and this is where it gets really greasy, okay? Because he's basically comparing us to Liberty.
Yep.
While this is the first year such a team was from a so-called, and it literally says in this letterhead, so-called Power 5 conference, strength of schedule remains a crucial factor. We understand the disappointment felt by Florida State and recognize that no matter what decision was made, fan somewhere would be disappointed. So that's what all it was about. Because you don't want to disappoint any other fans out there, because that's what it's all about. The fans. It's not about the players out there on the field. They gave their blood, sweat, and tears for years and years at a program. 4 years, climbing back to the top. All those tour duties. All those countless injury rehabs. That's what it comes down to. But just an absolute shit show and a joke by Bill Hancock. He's the latest member of this college football committee to come out there and stick his just foot down his mouth. And man, we've got people out there suggesting adding Georgia, the Georgia State Senate, I believe, or some form of the Georgia government
Hey,
has went out and filed suit to add a
do you think
16 playoff.
do you think Feinbaum and Kirk are going to call Georgia fans delusional and crazy for that? Because I haven't heard it yet today. I'm still waiting.
It's crazy. I have not seen that narrative at all. I have not seen them react to any of the Georgia fans' fear. I don't. It's almost like it's a conflict of interest, But yeah, we'll see how that goes, Jen. I highly doubt it.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I mean, if Alabama can go do what they did against Auburn, it shows you everything that it matters. And we're not going to go too far down that the conspiracy rabbit hole. But guys, how much more fucking evidence do you need? Like, what can you do?
I honestly could not believe he put that in that letter. I cannot imagine that any attorney who had received that subpoena said, "Oh, this letter looks good. This letter looks great."
If there's one thing, I'm happy. I'm great he did, because you know what that did? That just added fuel to the fire of Florida State getting off of that grant of rights. Yeah. If a guy who is the literal like director of the playoff committees, like out and out basically calls Florida State a G5 school, and when the chair of the committee is an athletic director of an ACC school, hello. Florida State is not competitive because they're in the ACC. Like any other conference, you're in there, just like Michigan and Washington, no questions asked. But since you're in the ACC, you're just not, you can't compete. So that language in the Grant of Rights is clear that the ACC is responsible and ESPN are responsible, for maintaining like financial and, athletic, what's the word I'm looking for? There has to be a competitive nature of it. You can't get left behind. Like being part of the ACC can't set you back. That's written in there. And I just can't wait to get to the Big Ten in 2025. This last year of 2024, it's not going to be like, a lot of times when a team leaves a conference or a guy retires or whatever the case may be, they have this like going away tour where all the ACC teams, kind of like when Maryland left, there was this thing where it wasn't a bunch of hate. It was like, oh, it's the last time we play Maryland. We talk it up. No, none of that shit. Scorched earth, middle finger to the ACC. How do you think our games are going to get ref next year? But anyways, Jeff Hill, he threw a super chat up. Michigan, who played the team? Hold on. Michigan, who played Temple in Indiana and cheated their way to the playoffs. That Michigan. Yes, that Michigan. And that's another component of it that, is so infuriating. You've got a team of guys who did it the right way, and you totally forget all this bullshit with Michigan. Literally their coach was suspended for half of the entire season. The first 3 games were something that happened before the season started. And then something totally different the end of the season that had been going on for years, the giant cheating scandal, stealing signals, joining practice, all these things. So it's pretty unreal. There is no excuse out there for the committee and for them picking this thing up.
No, but I still cannot believe they worded it the way they did. I'm actually, I was kind of blown away. I was surprised by it because I sit here and I go, you just basically gave them the out. You basically said that what they agreed to in that grant of rights, which is a Power 5 conference, doesn't exist.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to say thanks to Sandra Gordon. She sent out a $5 super sticker, so we really appreciate that. But another Big topic of conversation is, of course, high school recruiting. Tribe 24 sitting at number 3 currently in the 247 composite. I believe we're either number 2 or number 3 in the on 3 average, whatever they call theirs. A few weeks back, we lose out on LJ McCray. He commits to Florida. Lo and behold, all of a sudden, a defensive tackle requalifies. Defensive tackle, defensive end, depending on where he goes, where they decide to play the guy. I personally think he's a defensive tackle at Florida State. I think other people are selling him on being an end, and that's part of the reason he flipped. But nonetheless, he hasn't flipped yet. He canceled a visit, supposedly. He's down in Miami this weekend. The writing is on the wall, okay? Everybody pretty much agrees that Blunt is probably going to end up at Miami. And people are just absolutely losing it. They're melting down over it.
Here's what I'm going to tell people. If a kid chooses Mario.
Nope. You're back.
If a kid chooses to play for Mario, you've just dodged a bullet. That kid's a basket case. I'm sorry. That's the end of it. I'm not trying to bash the kid. I'm just saying that's a clown show down there. And if you want to go to the NFL, you want to be successful, playing for Mario is not a smart move at all. And he's going to screw you over in the end. He's not going to win the big games because he can't manage them. And you're just going to be ruined. So who cares? I mean, yeah, plant the spear. I agree with you. Land MJJ, and let's just move on from this.
Oh, I don't see that one. There we go. Yeah, and that's another thing. You're talking about a guy in MJJ, even though you lose Blunt, MJJ, and supposedly, possibly, you might have a Mims, you might have a linebacker. You don't know who's coming within this weekend. We'll find out about that, I'm sure, afterwards, especially with Wednesday coming up. There's surprises coming in the high school. Like, you're going to lose a flip here or there. But look, Florida State's going to close this year, too. There's going to be surprises. We are all in on Jeremiah Smith.
We got AZ at the last minute. Absolutely. AZ at the last minute. Come on, guys.
And also, there's another guy, and let me look up his name. It's pretty unreal what Williams. Adam Fuller and this, Papuchis and this defensive staff, say what you want about him, and people are all pissed about Blunt possibly flipping. But these guys have a plan. What's his name? Avery Williams, 2025. Amaris Williams. That's right. Amaris Williams. A class of 2025. Like, what was he? #1 athlete in the nation. A guy that plays defensive end, projects to play defensive end at Florida State should he come. All of a sudden, just like Blunt, reclassifying Amaris Williams, and just immediately on Florida State's campus. And I mean, there you go. I mean, I don't understand how you could be upset with that. I love it. You got MJJ. Possibly get a Mary Williams and 2025 class. I know you guys have heard it from me, but the 2025 defensive line class is going to be a historic haul. So just buckle up because it's coming.
Yeah. And, I sit here and look, if anybody like Adam Fuller is not going to mess around with kids who are, I flip here, I flip there, I come here, I come there, I do this, I do that. I'm going to show up this week and I'm not. I'm showing up this week and I'm not. And by the way, I don't blame them.
No, they've showed over and over again. They bring in the guys that fit the program. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you didn't. I was just saying, you didn't interrupt me at all. I was kind of done. I was just saying, I don't see them dealing with kids. And again, I'm not bashing the kid, but it's like, I commit here, I flip back, I'm going here, I'm showing, I'm not coming. They don't have time for that. That's a winning program. The program that can deal with that type of bullshit is down there in Moral Gables. We know that. They have the time to do it because, they're trying to either get ready for the Pinstripe Bowl or something else.
Right. And people want to say, oh, well, they got 7 top 100 D linemen in the past 2 years.
Cool.
Texas A&M signed 8 in one fucking class. Texas A&M. One class. Their coach is fired. And Texas A&M is twice, or Jimbo Fisher's twice the fucking coach Mario Cristobal ever thought. Cristobal is just like all the bad things from Jimbo with none of the good. It's like he can recruit. He can recruit the D-line. He's beat Florida State in high school D-line recruiting the past couple of years. Congratulations. Who had one of the best defenses, in my opinion, the best defense in the nation in 2023? Oh, wait. Florida State.
Mhm.
Who had the better defensive line, Florida State or Miami this year? Yeah, on the field, when you look at the stats, when you look at defensive production, FSU. We're going to be
And
just
also, when
fine.
you look at a team that didn't allow another team to beat them, I think that
Absolutely.
that's, yeah.
It's something that used to be the most important thing, but nowadays, isn't. And you touched on another good thing there, and it totally forgot what I'm saying, what it was that you said, but this staff, um, they're not going to babysit guys. They will
No,
go all out to recruit you, get you on campus. But once you commit, just like a receiver that went to Florida, just like a safety that went to Florida, who now is like plummeting down the rankings, just like this Armando Blunt, who reclassified, did all this stuff, came to Florida State, was all in. Now he's going back to Miami. They're not going to babysit you. They're not going to beg you and try to keep, retain you in the class over and over again. There's too much shit going on, and you hit the nail on the head. Miami's got time for that shit.
yeah.
You can have them.
And they're kind of, I mean, again, I'm not bashing any kids, but we know how the South Florida recruiting goes. And they're a little bit more probably used to it. And because, they live down there. I don't know. It's just, I think Mario is just such a waste of time for anybody to be worried about. Because he's never winning anything big. You're never going to see him on like a list of coaches that's like a want hire, right? I mean, I'll never forget, before Dabo made those good assistant coach hires, we used to always clown on Clemson saying, well, your coach is never on lists to be hired. And still to this day, he's really not. I guess this year he was, but there's a reason for that. And I think when you have a head coach that comes out on every single list, that means that he's doing something. And that means other people understand that he can coach, he can develop, he can run a program. Mario is never going to be on that list.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, like that man got fired from FIU or FAU. Which one was it?
FIU.
FIU. He got fired for losing.
And then Butch Jones, the guy who won a national championship at Miami, they don't give him the time of day because Miami was hiring a coach the same year. They won't even give him an interview. He gets hired at FIU, turns around and beats the coach Miami hires, which is just absolutely hilarious. You love for Miami to use FIU, but that extra bit really, really, I just love reminding people about that. But man, I've noticed over there, we've got a ton of people on Twitter. So we really appreciate you guys joining and watching on Twitter, on YouTube, everywhere. But just know if you join on the YouTube stream, you can comment and ask questions, especially here in about 10-15 minutes. We're going to open up the lines for calls and everything. But we appreciate you guys watching everywhere.
Absolutely.
Chuck Stone says he's just above Lou Holtz.
I mean, no.
Lou Holtz was a good coach. You're giving him too much
Lou
credit,
Holtz
Chuck.
won games. Come on, Chuck.
Yeah,
Mario can't win games. Are we serious? Like, no. Mario is, I mean, it's a joke. I mean, can somebody get him a bra? I'm sorry.
Like, people don't realize, like, Florida State, like Mike Norvell and Mario Cristobal both got their 69th win this year. One has 70 losses, one has 31. So you do the math on that shit. And before you say Memphis, it's like half and half for Mike. Half Memphis, half Florida State. And remind you that Mario Cristobal got fired from FIU. So is it true that Memphis was up? Okay, that's fine and dandy, but no, the record speaks for itself. It doesn't give you a 30 game out on the record.
Okay, but we're not going to be criticizing Memphis. This Memphis girl is on this podcast.
That's just praise for Memphis. It's just saying Memphis had a good program.
I'm just saying, have you seen, there's a kid that used to play for Memphis who's been posting about this all week.
Oh, yeah. Kadarian Jones. He has been on it. He has been absolutely.
It has been amazing. Y'all go follow Kadarian Jones, please. He's been all over this. He loves Mike. He loves that coaching staff.
Plays for the Lions, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, he is all about some Mike and Norvell. Irvin Williams says Mario had Justin Herbert, didn't he? Yeah, or didn't win. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like Justin Herbert literally got Willie Taggart the Florida State job. And then he turns around and gets Mario Cristobal, the Miami job. But it's like, you see it when he goes to the NFL.
He was a Helfrich recruit. That kid was
Exactly.
there when, yeah.
He was already there before either one of them got there, and played at a high level in college. Goes and starts immediately in the NFL. Like he's not. I'm not. We're not going to have a conversation of whether he's top 5 NFL quarterback. I know Chargers fans are super pissed with him right now, but in college he was a hell of a player, and he got Mario Cristobal and Willie Taggart a ton. And I have seen Miss Smiley here all over the place. Mike Norvell is currently leading the Bear Bryant Coach of the Year fan vote award by over 20,000 votes to the number. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. So he's number 2 on the leaderboard, but he's leading. I don't know what she's saying, but go find her on Twitter and go vote for him for the
Hey,
Bear Bryant
T
Coaching Award.
Smiley, can you send that to me on Twitter so I can repost it if you get this?
Absolutely. And
Thank
if you
you.
check your notifications, she probably has, because she has been all over that that thing. But yeah, no worries in high school recruiting over one particular guy. This class is special. We still got Jeremiah Smith possibly flipping. There's still a lot of stuff out there, a lot of big time players, and National Signing Day is just around the corner. That'd be next Wednesday, or not national. I guess it's early signing day, not national signing day as it used to be. But for all intents and purposes, that date in February is like for a handful of players. 99% of players, early signing day is the signing day, and a majority of these guys are going to be early enrollees. It's like used to be you would have a handful of guys, 2 or 3 early enrollees, and the rest of the guys would show up in the summer. But nowadays, no, like if you're a top player, you're graduating early and you're early enrolling, and you've got guys like Luke Cromenhoek. I'm going to try and start saying it the proper way. Cromenhoek.
Yeah, we've got to go back to that show where Max was on because he said it perfectly.
Yes, Cromenhoek. He nails it. But get him on campus. He's going to be here for the bowl game. Who else did I see? One of the maybe Charles Lester is going to be here practicing for the bowl game. It's great stuff.
Did you hear KJ Bolden was going to be practicing for the bowl game?
I almost said that, but I'm not 100% sure, but I do know.
I kind of heard that today. But again, it wasn't from anybody that, we would say, but I did hear that. But the other thing on LJ McCray.
Yeah, somebody was asking.
I'm hearing some Auburn smoke there.
Auburn jumps in the sweepstakes. Yeah, I've heard it's come down to maybe an Auburn FSU thing. Not so much Florida, but like, look, and here's what I'll say about that, because he was on Twitter. He was all over the place. The week he committed to Florida, what was he posting? Florida State stuff. Okay, so we took it as, okay, this is a troll, but maybe it was close. But here's the thing. What's he posting now that it's approaching signing day? Florida stuff. So he's posted this thing about this time next week, I'll be a Florida Gator and liking all this Florida stuff. If he keeps with his pattern, that means he's out of Florida. He's trolling them. He's about to get out there. So we'll see what happens. But you've got to really believe in yourself, or either, like you said, I'm not going to say that a kid is this or that. When you're young, you can be swayed to make a decision. I will just say that if you decide right now, and kind of the way things are going, to go to a Florida or a Mike Norvell, or not, excuse me, a Mike Norvell, a Florida team with Taggart Jr. over there about to be a lame duck head coach, then I mean, you just don't have the right people. I don't think giving you advice. I think that's the issue with the people that you have around here. And a thing about Amari Williams, I saw somebody post, he's only 16 years old, and I seen people attacking that on Twitter and laughing about it and making a joke. Oh, y'all bringing in a 16-year-old. Look, if you're gonna bring in a high blue chip guy like that, the younger the better. That just means you're getting them in there, and that's the guy that you want third string, as a young guy who is going to get better. And like you say, 16 like it's some crazy young age, opposed to 17. Like, what? He's just going to turn 17 instead of turning 18. It's no big deal. Whatever. He redshirts for a year and could be a monster the next year. I don't give two shits about the fact that he's 16. If he's a Florida State Seminole and Mike Norvell like him and they bring him in, I'm all for it.
So I have a really weird take on Billy. I think y'all gonna kill me for this. I think Billy Napier is a way better coach than Mario Cristobal, and I don't think it's close.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I was all in on. I thought that this was kind of like a 2021 FSU year for UF, and I've kind of been wrong
Mhm.
about that. I think, you know, he
Yeah.
just kind of like
I
he
think he
just
made
walked
bad
into a
hires. He made
really
bad hires.
yes, he made bad hires. He didn't attack the portal, maybe underestimated the portal going high school early instead of getting players to get better early. So he's just and then that schedule. It's just one of those things where you might want to be the guy after Billy, but no, I think if you put Billy in Miami and Cristobal in Florida, Cristobal would already be fired, and Miami might have had a
Oh,
chance to
absolutely.
compete for a
One,
title this year.
I think 100% because one, I think Cristobal would have lost way more games at Florida, way more.
I agree.
I think he would definitely be fired, and he'd probably be back working at Alabama on Nick Saban's rehab coaching, circuit again, like he had to after he was fired from FIU. But um, it's just so I do. I think Billy's a better coach. I think he's just in way over his head. Like I think he should have gone from, La Tech or wherever it was he was at to maybe like a Mississippi State to maybe like not because Florida is cutthroat, man. It's cutthroat. They love to fire some coaches over there. That's like, I mean, they're calling for it now. I mean, they're ready to go.
Oh yeah, they're fans, and it's like like they're so much worse than FSU, and it's like you look at it, and it's funny they got to they want to troll coaching hires and stuff. You went Bobby, Willie for a year and a half, and now Norvell, and we're set. Those guys, how many coaches have they had since Urban?
Well, we had Jimbo too.
20.
Don't forget Jimbo.
Oh, I'm sorry. It went
Yeah,
Bobby, Jimbo, title.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Willie, so four guys in the last 50, 60 years, whatever the case may be. But I want to cover this in case we kind of talked about it a minute ago, but we'll expand on it. Does the Battle's End have stipulations about using social media and restricting portal entry? Do any collectives have those type of things? Look, no. That's not what he was saying. What he's saying is basically you're not going to be able to come on social media and threaten entering the portal and all this stuff and complaining about money and they're not going to that's not how you're going to get more money from them. They're not, don't treat it like a hostage negotiation. Just go down there and talk to them, and that's how they'll do their business. They're very professional. They love these kids, but they're not going to get into a spat or any kind of issue like that on social media. But no, these guys can go in the portal. They can do what they want. Now, if they have a deal with Battle's End to where they were supposed to do this and do that, and that's how they get paid, and they transfer before those stipulations have been met, then you can have an issue where they don't get their money or they could owe, whatever company that they had that liability to, et cetera, et cetera. But no, I don't believe there's some kind of thing where if you're in the Battle's End, you're stuck and you can't enter the portal or anything of that nature. And with that, guys, we're getting close to an hour here. We're getting ready. I'm going to end up when we open the phone lines. The first two callers, when I get you on here, I'm going to give you a couple little questions just to make sure you are a watcher of the show and a Florida State fan. And I will save your number here in the Renegade Report line, and I will get with you after the show and get your information, and we'll get the $50 cash app there to whoever wins it. And also, the pack of cards obviously is going to take a little while. It's on the way to my house now. As soon as I get it, you'll get it. But like I said, we'll have you here in the bat phone, and we'll get it sent out to you as soon as possible.
So, with everybody freaking out about Blanc, right? How did you feel about him? Did you ever think he was going to be in the class? Because I never did. I
About
never
who?
did. Not one time.
About Blunt?
About
Yeah,
Armando. Yeah.
yeah. I never counted my. I'll believe it, and that's what I think we both said the same thing. We'll believe it when it happens. When he
Mhm.
signs, we'll believe it. I mean, that was a guy who was a Miami slam dunk the whole way. It was like wow. Like we could not believe it when it happened. But yeah, I agree with you. I never for 1 second thought that thing was done. Did I think he was going to flip before? That's a bit of a surprise. I thought maybe he would flip. If he was going to flip, he would flip back to Miami on signing day. If anything, if he
Did
was
he
trying to
already
do some
flip?
kind of
Did he already flip or no?
no, he hasn't. He hasn't come out and done a graphic, so we'll see. But it's trending that way. What do you
Oh, I
think?
mean,
Do you
he's
think
he's gone. I think he's gone, and I also, honestly, I, I, I'm not saying that they. I don't know. I think that if they wanted to be aggressive with him, they would be doing that.
Man, these people, I'll tell you what, these people don't want the money, Jen. $50 Cash App credit and a pack of FSU trading cards on the line for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway show. The phone lines are open and that line is flashing on the screen. All somebody has to do is call, and they're going to win
Well,
that $50 Cash App. So if you
I'm
have any
about to
questions,
call.
you can
Man, my phone's
text.
up here.
You can we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you those super chats that came in for your straw. So
Just kidding.
we'll
I'm
make
just
sure you're
kidding.
taken care of. But yeah, call in those questions, text your questions in. I see a ton of people on Twitter. You can't really I don't believe you can comment into the chat where we can see it. You can join on YouTube if you want to enter your questions, or you can text those in as well to the number on the screen or call. Looks like somebody started to call and then they gave up.
Uh-oh.
So the prize is still on the line. We got another caller coming in. Let's see what we got here. You've got the Renegade Rundown. Who are we speaking to?
Jeremy, how you doing?
How's it going, man?
Jen, it's Jeremy from the Roll Up Show as well.
Hey, how are you? How are you?
How you doing? Have you noticed that? And I love Norvell. I trust him. I trust the process. But we've never really had any recruiting surprises under the guy, especially on signing day. Do you think this is the year it changes?
Well, we had one last year. We had AZ last year, right?
Or the year before? That was the year before last.
It was okay.
Yeah, this is AZ's second year.
Wait.
Conrad Hussey was I don't think he might have committed like a couple of days before, but he was the last minute pickup, a big one late last year that we talked about.
I sworn I remember being in my kitchen with a surprise, but that could have been it.
And maybe if you had to give a 1 to 10 shot on Jeremiah Smith, what would you say?
I'd say 3. But I think anybody who's heard me on the roll up knows how I kind of feel about that situation. I've never, but again, I don't talk to the kid. Other people have, other people talk to people close. I just never saw it if Brian Hartline was still at Ohio State. I just didn't.
All right, Jeremy, man. Well, you were the first caller to get through, so you won the $50 gift card. Do you want it, or are you going to pass it forward? What do we got going on here?
Can I pass it to the Battle's End?
Absolutely. We will absolutely donate that to the Battle's End, and we will post the receipt, man. Absolutely. I love that, man.
Pay it forward, baby.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks for the call, brother. We love it.
All right.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. And that's what I've been hinting at. And I didn't answer that to answer you, Jeremy. I'm more of a 6 or a 7. I predicted a couple of weeks ago. I predicted Core Parrish, Jeremiah Smith, and Kai Bates. We got Kai Bates. Coy Parrish looks like he's going to go to Ohio State. I would hate for 2 out of my 3 predictions to stick at Ohio State, but no, I feel good. I feel like they're really going after it. Look, if he flips, he flips. If he doesn't,
again,
oh well. And somebody else was just trying to call in. Give it one more shot, dude.
Okay.
While I'm on the phone with somebody else, I can't answer, but the next caller will get that pack of trading cards with the one autographed inside as well. So keep those questions rolling in, and the next caller will get the pack of cards. I'm sorry, Jen, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I didn't turn my phone on Do Not Disturb, and someone was blowing me up. So
always at the perfect time. Man, we have never had this many people from Twitter on here, or X as you call it, but we really appreciate you guys joining and watching.
How many we got?
I have no idea. It doesn't tell me. We've got 202 people watching on YouTube, I believe. I'm not sure if the Twitter and the YouTube are combined. But again, get those questions in. The bat line is up there on the screen, and we still have that pack of trading cards with one autographed card of the 13 in there, the lucky number 13 for Jordan Travis.
Whose autograph is it, or is it like a surprise?
It's random. It's totally random. So they'll just have to find out. Hopefully they get Jordan Travis, but I'm sure that's probably the most rare. People keep like calling and letting it ring one time and then they hang up. Guys, if you want if you want the prize, you've got to keep calling. What's working, Jen?
I wonder if it's the phone. Are people calling at the same time and getting canceled out? Maybe, I don't know. Why would so many people just let it ring once?
I don't know. I mean, it's not a ton of people, but it just happened to a couple people. Just letting them know that you got to let it ring. If I'm on the phone, I can't answer the phone. So we had several people calling while I was on the phone with Jeremy, but they gave up. But it is
Yeah,
what it is. If you get your pack of cards, guys, call in.
I will say that is my go-to move whenever I'm like, hey, I'll call you back. I let
Just
it ring like
pretending.
once or twice. No, I let it ring once or twice and then I hang up and I'm like, I tried.
That's what I'm saying. You're pretending like you made the effort. That you didn't answer, bro. It's like it
Yeah,
didn't
like,
even
I
ring.
mean, look at your call log. Sorry, I tried you back. That's not my fault.
Yeah, Coy would have been nice. But I trust the staff to get somebody in there. They've got a plan, and we've got some nice options on campus still. That's why I don't understand people freaking out about Lundy when you've got a guy like Blake Nicholson waiting in the wings who's an absolute freak. All right, man, you've got the Renegade rundown. Who do we got on the line?
You got Andrew.
What's going on, Andrew? You got a question for us, or you just calling for the prize?
No, I got a question. Just wondering what your thoughts are on percentage chance that KJ Bolden stays in the class.
Woo, a percentage chance. I'll answer this one since Jen jumped on it first last time. I would probably put that at about 80%. What do you think, Jen?
I would say 90.
She's at 90%. We're real confident. KJ Bolden's at Florida State right now. They're already talking about him, being there for the bowl practice, early enrollee, all that good stuff. So, yeah,
Okay.
we're really confident, and we think he'll be in
a
there.
lot of smoke on the Auburn stuff. So
Look, these other guys get paid too.
think-
So
I don't think Auburn. I don't think
All right, well, I
Auburn is the
appreciate
one
you.
you should be concerned with.
absolutely. Well, you won that pack of trading cards as well. So shoot me a text, and unless you want to pass it forward, we'll get your information and we will get you those cards.
okay, for sure. Yeah, I'll give you a text right now. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you. I was gonna say I don't think Auburn is the main competition for him. I don't.
Who do you think the main competition
I
is?
think Georgia. I think
Georgia. You think it's
Yeah.
still Georgia? It's always been Georgia.
Yep.
From the very get-go. His dad, his mom, they live over there. They've got roots as deep as any you'll ever see. And there's things that Georgia can do for Bolden that nobody else can. There's things in the communities. You know how it is. If you move to Tallahassee, it's all of a sudden everything is easier to do in Tallahassee because, you're the star, you're the blah, blah, blah stuff. Well, all that stuff is magnified in Georgia because that's where they're at. That's where they're, so that's been the biggest thing. But look, we're not going to do this whole Auburn fucking conversation again.
No. I was gonna say,
but
no, we're not
he
doing
does
that.
recruit over there. So, they got Keldrick Falk last year, but a lot of people want to bring that up. Keldrick Falk was an Alabama kid. Different situation. It's freaky with them Alabama kids. You can do everything right and think you got them in the bag. It is hard for those kids to get out of
It's like
Alabama
a
and not
South
go to
Florida
Auburn.
kid. It's a South Florida kid. I'm telling you. So
Yes.
what I was going to say is the reason, one, you've heard the smoke about Georgia there's a lot of people that say it's really Florida State, Georgia, if anybody's going to flip him, it was going to be Georgia. But I'm being a girl here, but like when you looked at his in-home visit photos, he looked happiest in the one with Mike and the coaches, and his family looked happy. He looked happy with Kirby, right? Hugh, he was like, it just looked. I'm not saying anything mean. I'm just saying he didn't look like it was where he wanted to be. That's where I'm going off of. And his family wasn't in the photo. That's another weird one. His dad was in the photo with Kirby. He was smiling real big. The whole family's in with Mike. And it's like, I don't know. It just seemed like the Auburn picture was more of you came over. I can at least give you a piece of pie.
Right.
It was just, it didn't, everybody else got involved with the other pictures. So I know that's being very girly. It's being weird. I'm probably reading way too much into it, but
these things matter. Hey, when you look at LJ McRae's in home, his parents weren't in the photo. So what does that mean for Florida State? People are going to talk about it. It's part of it. And looks like we have another super coming in here. We come over, Kyle. Let's see here. Kyle, with a $20 super, we appreciate you. Just wanted to support the show. Love listening to what you guys say. The College Football Committee and ESPN can suck my Christmas. My Christmas. What does he say there? Go ahead.
Sack.
Suck his Christmas sack, guys. Go Knowles, unconquered. We love it, Kyle, man. Thanks for the super. And you guys keep the questions coming, and we'll keep the show rolling here for another 20, 30 minutes. We really appreciate everybody joining the show and all the supers. We love it. You know, how awesome is it? And what does that tell you about the FSU family? And kind of, you know, it really models what we do here at this podcast. Our friends at Spear Addicts and Media Group, they do. It's about, you know, we don't want to show FSU in a negative light. We're not here to shit on these kids. We're not here to bang on Mike Norvell, but we're going to criticize somebody if it's necessary. But at the end of the day, it's all about Florida State football and the most positive things we can do and the best we can do to uplift this program. So you give away $50 for hitting 1,000 subscribers, and the guy that gets it wants you to donate it to Battle's End. I mean, that tells you all you need to know. So everybody else, if you can't afford it, do that too. Jump in on Battle's End. And KJ's mom is repping FSU all the time. I don't think they care which one he lands on. KJ was live in the Insta today and had a blast on the practice field with other recruits. He was out there with, I believe, Jamari Howard and a couple other DBs.
Check the next comment.
Oh, Lord.
I agree with you, Persistent Jordan. I agree. It was terrifying. It was. I'm telling you. Like,
Yeah.
KJ looked like he was like, I mean, it just didn't seem like that's where he wanted to be. And I'm not saying anything about like the situation. It just looked like his parents like left the room. You know when you have like when you were younger and you lived with your parents and you have like a new boyfriend or girlfriend or somebody coming over, right? That you didn't really like anymore, right? You didn't like them anymore, and you don't want your family to leave the room with you in there.
Oh my goodness,
right?
yes.
That is the look that it looked like he had on his face. It was more like, oh, I mean, I'll sit next to you because I invited you, but like, you gave me the hippie jibbies and like
texting grandma and asking her to call and say there's an emergency. She's fell down and she needs your help. Oh my gosh, coach, we got to get out of here. Absolutely.
That's when me and my best friend, it's pineapples.
Pineapples. You got to have a safe word for when, somebody comes over with that sweater vest and you got to get them the hell out of there. Kev, Marvin Jones Jr. What y'all think? We mentioned this a minute ago earlier in the show, way earlier, but yeah, I mean, that's a slam dunk, guys. Marvin Jones Jr., same thing with Jermaine Johnson. Everybody, why are we taking, these people that can't hack it at Georgia? He's only got 5 sacks and they didn't use him a ton. If he's not good enough for there, why is he good enough for Florida State? Well, we saw what happened with Jermaine Johnson 1 year into the pros. They used their linebackers different. They won a 3-4 over there. And, they tend to have guys like a Mario Edwards Jr., who is more space eaters than the guys that are Marvin Jones Jr. size. They want to stick them in coverage, and they get them in bad leverage situations, which is great for the defense, and it stops the run and all that stuff. But it is not conducive to getting stacks and big time the stats and things. Like that's why you see a Trayvon Walker go to the NFL and all of a sudden, bam, he's this sack monster that he wasn't in college because of how they used him. Same thing with Jermaine Johnson when he comes to FSU, and that's the same thing that's going on with Marvin Jones Jr. If you're not on X and following how his dad has been dropping hints and talking for literally the past couple years, the kid's loyal. He wanted to work at Georgia, he stayed there, but it seems like finally he's ready to go out and ball out. And I think he's there, and I think he might have at least one person from his team with him, maybe more. There haven't been any official reports of a Mims, or I'm not even going to try. I got to really learn that linebacker's name. The other linebacker that left there, there's
like
no
JDJ or something. It's like a JDU or something like. I don't know. I'm Southern. I can't pronounce those big old words without sounding dumb.
Right, but whatever his name is, they're definitely going to get MJJ, and hopefully he can help maybe get a couple more Georgia Bulldogs who are like.
Have you heard anything about the Porter kid out of Miami if MJJ comes to Florida State?
I heard a little bit about it, but I think you may have a little bit better take on that one. So what do you got? What do you think?
I really don't. I've just heard from people, but I can't really confirm it because I haven't gotten to talk to people that I would really trust a little bit more in that.
What do you think about him as a player?
Well,
is it somebody you want?
Well, I mean, I didn't say I wanted him. I was just saying.
No, I'm asking.
I love Daryl Jackson, and I think he's going to be a freaking
Who comes
monster.
back? People act like,
But again, and I know this isn't the same position where I'm going with this conversation, is that it worries me kids that choose Miami. It does. I'm sorry. You choose them off the top of the rope. I don't know. Could be questionable. Like Daryl Jackson's different. He was at Maryland first. So that's a little different. He transferred to Miami, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. It's just
look, hey, I get it, man. I get it. I give a little bit more leeway to these kids because there's only 85 scholarships and there's so much that goes into it. But yeah, like you have to be like, I blame it more on the parents. I see how the kids can make that decision. I just feel like maybe they don't have the best people surrounding them and giving them advice. And to play devil's advocate, and I don't like before you jump on my head, I'm just saying this is what other people would say. The same thing about Mike Norvell going into year 3. So
true.
you know,
No. I'm not like gonna get onto you for that. But Miami's been down for 30 years. This isn't
no,
Mike Norvell year 3.
there's no
This
doubt.
is
Yeah, I'm not going to
this
argue
is a
with it there.
dumpster fire program who used to have like folding chairs.
They don't have a
and
stadium. Like their home games are
yeah, like I
terrible.
mean,
Their players
come
bitch. They
on.
love going to other places. Like
Yes.
I'm with you. Believe me. Like somebody needs to talk to these kids. But hey, if you want to go down there, a Daryl Jackson. I mean, you can respect a Daryl Jackson. He got down there. He was there for 1 year and said, "Get me the hell out of there."
Yeah, I mean,
So
so absolutely. I mean, I get that. I'm just saying, I actually heard a podcast today, and I'm not going to say who it was because I don't want any like Miami fans who are in here trying to clip and then harass this person, but was talking about Cam being at Miami and then going to Florida State, within the next couple days. And basically said, if Cam chooses Miami over Florida State, you've dodged a bullet.
yeah, for
And this
sure.
is a very well-respected person, somebody who knows ball, everything. He's like, if you choose to go to Miami over Florida State, you've dodged a bullet. I mean, I don't have anything else to add to that. That's what he said.
You have let the people know. Jen has spoken on this subject. If you're
Mhm.
going to Miami, what are you doing? Okay, so yeah, that's a stain on your reputation if you make that decision. So work on your decision making. But we got another good question coming here. It says, "Hey Tony, here from Memphis, but I grew up in North Florida, played baseball at Tallahassee Community College, and used to party with Marvin Jones Sr. at Tallahassee Moon." Oh my gosh, I've heard so many stories. I wish I could have experienced that. Do we have any news on who's playing in the Orange Bowl? I'm glad you brought this question up. We just found out Jerry and Jones. He's going to the NFL, but he is going to be with this team and practicing for the Orange Bowl and come out and show out before he makes his way to the NFL. Look, these guys are practicing. I'm not going to tell you, like, we don't have a full list who's opted in, but guys, the more and more I look at it, the more surprised I'm getting. We talked about the guys we've lost out of the portal like it's a loss, but those are depth pieces. Like, the only real opt-outs that I know of is Johnny Wilson, and I don't think Keon Coleman has even said he's opted out. I've assumed he probably will.
Yeah.
Jared Verse is going to play. Patrick Payton is going to play. We've got a chance of having a damn good team go. You just may only have 65 scholarship guys, due to people you've had 15 guys transfer out. So, and even though they're depth, it's just it comes smaller. But no, we should have. I hope it doesn't get to where you run into depth issues, but so far with what we've got, I think these guys are really, really bought in. The first week we bitched and we did 3 or 4 shows talking about it, but no, they're fired up for this Orange Bowl and they're wanting to go out there and kick Georgia's ass. And I think the same thing over on Georgia's side. You go get this Orange Bowl win. You hope Alabama or Texas wins it's not even a playoff, the college football invitational. And if one of those guys can win it, you're the only undefeated team in the nation, 14-0. And, you're sitting at number 3 or number 4 in the AP and the coaches poll. You win another game against a number 6 team in the country, Georgia, who he's probably higher than that. And I'm not sure what they are in the AP, but still, you beat them. You're the national championship in my book. This isn't no fucking UCF bullshit situation. The AP and the coaches poll vote you number 1. You're number 1. Everybody knows that it's bullshit. And Kyle put up the question a while ago. I know we've talked about it. It was kind of what we opened the show with on the portal and DJ or Cam Ward. But yes, Cam Ward is on campus still. I'm not sure if DJ has showed up or if he shows up in the morning, but they will be kind of overlapping on their visits.
I think he shows up tomorrow afternoon is what he's
Yeah,
supposed to get in. So it's only supposed to be a slight overlap.
absolutely. Which makes for, a very interesting timeline and something that a lot of folks weren't expecting. Like, Jen talked about these quote unquote Miami insiders. I swear, us and Spear Addicts and stuff, you get more accurate information about Miami from us than them. It's pretty crazy. But yeah,
Oh, do you
DJ
mean
or
like the long article about how Gabby wrote about the trouble? Like the Wards were so upset because their flight got canceled. It's like,
oh my God.
wow, this is elite journalism, Gabby.
He said breaking
Elite.
story. Flying is difficult and a
Yes.
pain in the ass in 2023. Like, Jesus
Who
H. Christ,
knew?
their
Who
flight
knew?
got delayed? Who knew? Like, it's the fucking capital of the
He's
state.
like,
This
they're
isn't this.
very upset with this situation. It's been very unsettling while they're out to eat with like Mike and like the coaching staff. Yeah, they didn't look very put out.
But yeah, I was Cam Ward all in kind of at the very beginning, but the longer this thing is gone, I've slowly but surely
can we
worked.
get this weirdo out of here? Can we kick him out? I don't like those comments. They're kind of perverted.
You'll have to give me a second to find it, but we will
Okay,
definitely
sorry.
get him out of there. But DJ or Cam Ward, like I was saying, we definitely we talked about it earlier in the show, but those turnovers for Cam Ward just absolutely scared the shit out of me. What do you think?
Mhm.
Just kind of go into that a little bit and talk to Kyle about who you think, Cam or DJ, and I'll see if I can find what you're talking about here.
Go look. It's John Shields. So yeah, I agree with you. I think the fumbles and everything, the turnovers. If you think about it, Florida State barely had any turnovers at all.
Yes,
They were
they
like,
are out of there.
yeah. Sorry, I just didn't like those comments. And he's been kind of stalking on social media all day, but anyway, so yeah,
Well, he
it's
is
the
banned. Get the fuck out of here, John Shields. Be
I
fucking
wonder
with
if
Jim.
those
We ain't got
Miami
time for
shows
that.
were doing that. No, he wasn't really messing with me. It was just, I didn't like the words he was using. And I mean, it's just gross. Like nobody wants to hear that. It's freaking Christmas. Like Santa's watching, John.
We're good, Kev. Sometimes we say things out loud that we could like text and stuff. You guys got to work with us. We just hit 1,000
we're
subscribers. We're
sorry.
coming. Kev, we do have a producer spot open though, because I've had people ask me that. We really, we love what you're doing, and they're asking me how many of there are they of you. Our friend Sky Knoll from Twitter, she's gonna be sending us some stuff after the first of the year, so we'll start giving out some of her cool keychains and the different dog leashes and all the cool stuff she makes over there on her little shop. But yeah, I was like, no, just me and Jen. So there is no no producer in the background.
It's really just George. I just show up. I really don't do anything. He does everything.
Well, Jen is super humble, but just the fact of having the co-host here and somebody to shoot the shit with and talk to you guys 3 times a week is a huge blessing, and we really appreciate that you guys and perverts and people talking bullshit. We ain't got time for all that nonsense. We're here for Florida State football. We'll talk crap with the best and troll and all that stuff, but when it gets into the weird stuff, that's when we're out.
And that's like the 7th. I mean, I've seen this dude all over the place, and it's just, I mean, come on, find something else to do. It's Friday night. I know what we're doing, but like, he's not even a fan of the show. Like, go do something else. Go do something else.
Absolutely. And guys, don't forget those lines are open. We're right here at a minute and 20 I can't talk. An hour and 20 minutes. We're at an hour and 20 minutes, guys. So we're going to go for at least another 10 minutes. But guys, if you got any questions, get on the horn. Call us now or forever hold your peace. Any questions about high school recruiting, portal recruiting? Is the sky falling? Is Bill Hancock a baby back bitch? Yes. Kirk Herbstreit might do some of that stuff Eddie Murphy was accused of early in his career. Anyways, look, do it. Call, get your question in, all that good stuff. And we appreciate all the support. What you got, Jen? You got anything?
Uh,
Is there anything you want to touch on before we get out here?
I think fans, just come on, let's just be calm. What? Okay, so if you had to put a guess on it today, who's going to be the quarterback? Who do you think the quarterback commitment's going to be?
The quarterback, like as far as out of DJU or Cam. Man,
Yeah.
this is hard. I thought it was
It is hard.
DJU, and then Cam's here for 3.5 days. This one's tough, man. I know that seems like crazy, and it's like kind of far fetched that they would literally have a competition, like and like you said, it may just be a short passing thing, but it really feels like they have the choice. It feels like they're almost competing for it more
So here's
than
how I think how it's going to work out is Cam is not, I don't think he wants to commit on a visit unless it's 100, I think he wants to go back and think about it.
And they're not
so
gonna wait?
I don't think DJ is going to want, I think if DJ gets the opportunity to commit on campus, he will. Because from what I've heard, when he went into the portal, the only choice for him was Florida State.
right.
So I think that's how I see it going, unless Cam commits on campus. And I don't know that I'm getting that vibe from that family, because I think they want to go back and think about it. But
Well, yeah, well, think about it. You'd be committing right as DJU's showing up. So yeah, I mean, he's getting the last. So it's if we're right, and it's really kind of them two competing for it. It's kind of the roles are reversed. It's like
yeah,
DJU gets the last say. He gets to
Yeah.
talk to So yeah, he'll have that opportunity to commit there on Sunday. You might be onto something. Okay, breaking news right here. We've got a prediction coming in. Look out Sunday for a possible commitment from DJ Uungalele. How do you like that shit? DJ Uungalele. I got
okay.
that thing locked, son.
Here's the thing. I could see him doing it Saturday night, guys.
Saturday night. You don't even think he
like-
makes it to Sunday. He's just walking around Tallahassee as a Seminole on Sunday, is what you're
I'm
saying.
telling you, from what I've heard, like when he decided to enter the portal, the only school he's talked to is Florida State. That is his choice. That's what he wanted. And okay, DJ's 2 years, right?
Yeah, he should have a COVID year in there for sure.
Yeah.
So whenever you see like red shirt this or that, you got to add a year, given that, because
Look, I know how fans feel. I know that you got like Cam is the #1 rated quarterback in the portal, and we all want to stick it to Miami, and he's not going to go to Washington now because Will Rogers just committed there. So you could see Cam commit on the visit. I really don't know. When he left Miami in that absurdly embarrassing interview when he was getting, did you read it? I mean, it was, those fans had like their new Cam's t-shirts like printed up, like he was about to commit and everything. And he's like, I'm going to go to Florida State, but I might visit these schools too. I know it was Washington. Who was the other one?
All right, now Kyle he's kind of batting back on us on the whole DJU train. Remember what happened the last time we had a Ward at quarterback? The man makes a good point.
I agree. Look, I'm not saying that it should be DJ. I like the DJ pick because that's where he wants to be, and I also like the Petty factor of it because again, Petty is my favorite color. I've said it 1,000 times. Going and beating Clemson next year with DJ would be hilarious. I'm here for that. But I'm not saying that Cam would be a bad, like if Cam commits and says I want to commit, they're going to take him.
Shit, do you take two? Are they both gonna commit? What's gonna happen? So DJ Ugalele is 22. He's not 25. He is currently in his 4th season of college football, but like me and Jen said, he has that extra year of eligibility. So even though he's played every year, so yeah, I guess it is 1 year. This is 1 year.
That's the one. That's the one I would look for.
Did he redshirt as a freshman, or did he play at Clemson his true freshman year? He did
He
redshirt?
redshirted. Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, he'll have 1 year because he'll have played 4. Yeah.
So our
2 years,
rumor
I'm sorry.
said USC is also a possibility for Cam. Absolutely, they are, but they're also just entered the Will Howard sweepstakes, who was at Miami, right? So I don't know. If I were Cam and it was like if Florida State took DJ, and you want, however that works out, I would of course go to USC over Miami. I mean, if I was a top quarterback, you couldn't pay me money to you couldn't pay me enough money because I would want to go to the NFL, and you're just not going from there. You're just not as a quarterback. You're just not.
Alex Roberto. Too bad we couldn't get a portal quarterback and play them for the playoffs. Man. I mean,
Fair.
shit. Imagine if you could have just got. I mean, you could get Cam Ward or DJU today, and then put them right into practice and go compete. It would be tough, but that sure would. Yeah, it would be nice if we could do that, but unfortunately, the way the semesters and shit work, that can't happen. It's I hate it, but yeah, you just got to get over it. Unfortunately, they completely screwed us, and it is what it is.
Oh my God, this person is so funny. Noel fan. Who else is waiting for the first tweet from McElroy? Have you noticed he's absolutely missing on Twitter? That person is not wrong.
My
he
goodness.
hasn't tweeted since like December 4th.
Put Greg
He is not.
McElroy on a milk carton. He is. It's funny because Kurt's like
Missing.
out there, like just constantly trying to defend himself. I think Greg really is ashamed. I think that's what it is. I think he was forced to join that narrative, even though because like I've been bragging on him all year.
Mhm.
ESPN let him do his own thing. He basically did what we do. Like he copied the small, what I call the new era media, the Spear Addicts, like the Renegade Reports, the Dim Media Groups, single camera, just right here talking, giving opinions, talking to the people. And that's basically what his ESPN show is. It's nothing. There's no production. It's just him and a camera with a green screen. And he gave his opinions. And then when it comes down to being on the big shows at the end of the year, all of a sudden when it really matters, everything he's been saying all damn year goes out the window and he's running the company line. I don't give a shit if he plays at Alabama or not. He knows. Because like that stat line that we put up, that 5 for 11, 56 yards when he won the national title against Texas, he knows. He loves football. Like he gets it. So I think he just feels like he doesn't have an argument because he agrees. Like it's just he pretty much had to make a career decision. Like when defensive backs see a fullback, Mike Allstott running right down at him and they lay down. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. He had to do that because ESPN train was heading at him. Booger McFarland didn't do it. What's his name? Dan Dillhole.
Orlovsky.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky. He did.
Me too,
he laid down and let the ESPN train hit him. Dude, I've been cussing Herb Street and talking shit, calling him a vile piece of trash every day.
You?
He won't block me. I'm like, what do I have to do do I have to risk getting canceled just to get like Kirk Herbstreit to block me? What the fuck do I have to say about the guy? I've talked shit about his dog. I've talked shit about the second dog. I've talked shit about him, his whole family, his belief system, all that shit.
I'm not talking bad about that dog. Well, I mean,
it's a cute puppy and all, but we see what you're doing, cuz. Like, who are you fooling?
It's a PR move. This is a PR move, and
it's privilege. People are always talking about privilege. This fucker just gets to bring his dog around everywhere because it's stressful to be, the most powerful person in college football. So he gets to bring his fucking dog into these suites and all these crazy places that me and Jen may never ever even get to enter. Like it's like we'll never even get to be there. But this guy, he gets to bring his dog.
We won't see the door. We won't see the door.
Like, does he have some condition that I don't know about? Because, like, I don't want to be insensitive if he has some real PTSD situation, but...
PTSD from what? Being rich?
I don't know. Kidding? Probably the dicks in his DMs from FSU fans. Like, I don't know.
He got run out of Ohio by Ohio State fans.
Jesus Christ.
So, for me, I just wonder for him, like his face is all red all the time. I don't know. He looks. I mean, I don't know if it's the Botox,
spirits,
the collagen,
heavy on the spirits. That's kind of what I've always seemed like to me.
I mean, you can tell by the way his nose is kind of discolored now, and it's kind of reshaping itself. I wasn't sure if that was plastic surgery or face fillers, but it could be booze.
Got to
But
find his way from the hotel bar to the room. You know, that makes sense why he's got to have that dog if he can't hardly stand up. You know, that would make sense.
Somebody's got to walk in there. It really wouldn't surprise me. And that poor dog looks like he's tired.
Oh
That
my
dog
goodness,
is
I'm
like,
telling you.
dude, I'm over it. No more bars. No,
I'm
you
not
cannot-
smiling for
yeah.
the camera, Kirk. What
Uh-huh.
is this fucking Elvis impersonator doing? Like, are you serious? You're posting Elvis impersonators trying to garner sympathy. Like the dog's just sitting there like, what in the fuck is this? What is going on? Who
I
hires an
really-
Elvis? Like, oh, for his dog? Oh, whatever.
I have to be honest.
Y'all
I
go
really
give
think,
Kirk hell, please.
I really think Kirk gave me such a gift yesterday when he wrote that unhinged tweet.
Lord of mercy.
When I saw it, I have never been so giddy. I was like, oh my God, he's losing his mind.
He did it again. He did it again.
It was so great. It was so great.
I just want to get blocked, man. Just block me, Kirk. Please. Jeez.
And then did you see that video about Feinbaum? He's like, well, I was at this party in New York and this woman, I mean, you just told me everything that I needed to know about you, that you live in New York and all your friends watch MSNBC and Morning Joe in particular. So there's like 12 people that do, by the way. And Paul Feinbaum apparently lives in the same neighborhood as all the people who watch Morning Joe on MSNBC. And he's like, and she said to me, how would you have this opinion? It was just so funny. And he's like, we're being stopped in the streets. Him and Matt Berry are so aghast. So aghast.
Matt Berry. There's another one. There's another freaking genius.
That people would care about stupid old Florida State. And Paul Feinbaum, they don't even know their coach. They don't even know the quarterback's name. How do you know that? How do you know that? You just assume that. And so I want to ask Paul. So Paul, if you ask that same woman who you live in the same neighborhood with and watches MSNBC with Morning Joe, would she know the Alabama quarterback? I assume you think she would. Because they're so important, they're so famous, they're so wonderful. Let's go find this woman and ask her. What's the name of the quarterback for Alabama?
They don't know. They can't tell you anything.
Saying. Like he says it.
They don't
like
watch
like
the fucking games. It's like
they
don't even know who the backup is for Florida State. It's like they don't even know that our guy's coming back. It's
yeah.
I'm with you 100%. It's a joke.
Oh yeah, I'm loving me some Dan Mullen right now. I'm right back at you, smooth criminal. I'm right back with you on that. Dan Mullen is amazing.
What Dan Mullen? What's the latest thing he said?
Oh, he's been all over the circuit talking about.
Oh yeah,
sure. That clip of his is my favorite. On that same game, Alabama, who he just shoved right in. No big deal.
This never gets old here.
This is not okay. It's just not. It's not.
That never gets old. We could just listen to that over and over, and it's just not okay.
Oh my God. It's so fantastic. And the fact that this millionaire opens his phone, who gets paid millions of dollars to analyze football games that he watches live 10 to 15 a week. So he's really important. You aren't. And he had a pen in his hand when he said it. Hey, we got. Let me put a pin on my hand so I can make sure that you know that I know what I'm talking about when I say it, because that's how he is. When he gets on that set, he's like, I've got my pin in my hand and I'm gonna move my hands around.
He really loves it. He loves wielding that power. He loves every part of it. And he fucking spent a month and a half campaigning, propaganda, all this shit, jumping up and down on an FSU live broadcast about Alabama beating a team who just got blown out, all this stuff. Well, I'm here to tell you, one thing, Kirk Herbstreit. You can kiss my ass. The committee can kiss my ass. And when you leave a Power 5 team out, one in Florida State who scheduled the reigning SEC West champion, one in Florida State who has 3 undefeated national champion seasons, 3 Heisman winners, everything, one of the top defenses in the nation. When you do that,
Because this is not okay.
it's not okay.
It's just not.
Just not okay.
Oh my
So,
God.
We're not going to let it rest. We're going to keep on hammering your ass and until you break. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If he may be done, maybe he won't respond for a couple weeks and it'll die down. But I have a feeling.
I don't see it stopping. I think they're all so weirded out by the back. Like I said, like Paul is being hounded by, extremely liberal white women in New York who watch MSNBC. Like, and when you piss those ladies off, they're going to start really harassing you. We know how these white women can be when they start doing all that stuff, like they want to film you doing everything. They want to complain about everything you're doing. I'm just saying, I mean, that's who he's pissed off is the Karens. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, I'm going to answer some questions real quick. If y'all have any. What do you think, George? You think he's pissing off the Karens? Because that's who it seems to me he's pissed off. The suburban.
Sorry. Okay, let's see here. Can you guys hear me, Jen?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Jen? No?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Sorry, guys. I have a bit of an issue here.
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to, if you guys have questions, let me know. Who do you think we get at?
I think I'm back in the good.
William, God, I'm really
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yep. Sorry about that,
guys. I'm a little torn on this one. I don't know. I think it just depends on who gives the word first, to be honest. I think that's where we're going. Cam, or DJ, whoever commits first. That's my pick.
Yeah, for sure. Who gets that commit in first? And Jen again brought up a great point earlier when she said that, look, DJU may not give Cam Ward a chance. If Cam does not commit and he leaves campus and DJU is there, I said maybe Sunday. Jen thinks, as early as Saturday night. So absolutely. No. It's kind of the first one to get there is probably going to get it. It just really feels like this staff is choosing who they want. And, there's no better way to get it. And even though people may troll online because one defensive went here that you happen to get a visit from, or top 2, or South Carolina picks up this guy, it means the end of the world. And FSU doesn't get the pick of their litter. You're getting your pick of the litter at the most important position on the field. And we literally just saw it doesn't matter how many DNs you pick up, doesn't matter how many wide receivers you pick up. You got to have a quarterback, or you're not considered a team that can compete for a championship. So who's doing better than Florida State in the portal? They got the two prizes. They're on their campus back to back pretty much all week long, courting the top 2 in the country.
So William, I do not think we hold on to Blount. I don't. No.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is not looking good on Mr. Blount.
But I mean, to be honest, I think somebody would be out there trying to meet up with him aggressively if they thought they could hold on to him, and that's not happening.
Yeah, I'm having all kind of technical issues over here, but guys, we are already almost at 1:40 minutes. We are having an absolute blast talking to you guys, but the number is still up on the screen. We'll probably go for another 10-15 minutes. We'll see how Jen's feeling, but if you have any questions, you want to get a takeoff, just talk on the show. This is your last chance, but we sure appreciate you guys. Again, go follow Jen at Jen Santee 1890 on X as well. We don't have a YouTube channel to prop for her, but y'all just sub here so you can catch her 3 times a week, and make sure you go check her Twitter page out. And she does so many cut ups from different podcasts, and it's hilarious. She probably makes more off Twitter than I make in my day job. So y'all make sure y'all get over there and follow her and get on that.
So God, I don't know. with DJ Cam though, I think Cam is not going to be in a state to commit on a visit. I just don't. I really think he wants to weigh his options, and unfortunately in this case, I think if DJ commit, like I think DJ will commit if Cam hasn't. I mean, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I feel you. I see exactly what you're saying. Cam is more just really choosing his options. He wants to visit here. He wants to visit there. He wants to make sure he has this, has that. Is this person going to? No, DJU. He wants in at Florida State. He knows what he wants to do. That soul's focus, that could definitely get it for him. And I'm leaning more that way. I'm like almost 50-50. I'm almost totally magnanimous on this thing. But I trust Tony Tokars and Norvell to make the right call. KH with a comment, what did Hancock say? Guy, we like read almost the whole thing on live. It's on here before, but he didn't say anything. A bunch of bullshit about that they've already repeated. And he pretty much called the ACC a Group of Five conference. That was the major new thing in it. Said the so-called Power Five conference of FSU and compared us to Liberty and the other 7 G5 teams that were undefeated and got left out. He didn't mention that they put a G5 team in. And FSU didn't get in. So there's been times that G5 teams made it in the playoff over Power 5 teams. But here we have a situation where a Power 5 champion undefeated is left out, and there is absolutely no excuse for it. And hopefully we can get to some discovery somewhere along the line. There's all the comments that were made about the Big 12 and ESPN running all the schools out of there so that their grant rights would dissolve. There's a smoking gun somewhere. We just got to hope they come out with it, or somehow Florida State gets out and we can get into the Big Ten. And I think you're going to hear an announcement on that sooner than later. I can't speak on any information talked about behind closed doors on particular dates.
My alarm's going off. Let me
go ahead. Go check it.
My house alarm. I'll be right back.
Absolutely. Go check
It's a cat, I'm sure.
A cat. She's got a cat burglar over there, folks. But yeah, I totally forgot what I was just saying. But yeah, get your questions in. Who did we get? Where's my Battles End money working for? Well, I don't know if you've been listening for the past 2 hours, but the top 2 quarterback recruits in the entire portal. One of them is Cam Ward. He's currently on campus. The other one is DJ Uiagalelei. He's going to be here tomorrow, and that's who you're going to get. You're going to get one of those 2, and you're going to be able to compete for a title again in 2024. Who else you get? Marvin Jones Jr. is going to be on campus. You're going to get him. He's almost a 99%. You're going to get him. He has another person with him. There's going to be more people in the coming days that you are going to get. But the number one top priority for being competitive in 2024 is getting a quarterback. You got to get a quarterback, and that's where the priority is. Getting a quarterback and trying to keep the other 25 high school recruits that you have locked in. You have way more kids than you've had in the past. Everybody is up in arms and upset about Armando Blunt, a guy who may have planned this whole damn thing from the beginning to flip back to Miami and make a spectacle. You're all mad about him, but you don't want Mike Norvell and the staff out on the road making sure that the rest of Tribe 2024 stays in this class and commits on Wednesday. We're talking about next Wednesday, guys. I hope you realize that. I understand that it's all about getting guys in here early and this stuff in the portal. You got to be quick. That's why the 2 fucking quarterbacks are on campus. Next week on Wednesday, after early signing day, it'll be all balls to the wall from the 21st to the 2nd on transfer portal. Maybe we can get some guys to uncommit who haven't already signed. Maybe we can do this, do that. This staff, okay, if I'm wrong and we don't get anybody out of the portal and we look like a fool and everybody flips and we don't sign a top 10 high school class, you guys can come in here. I'll open up the lines like I have it right now, and you can come on here and tell me how stupid I am, how my takes have been wrong. But everything I've said for the past 18 months, a year, as the Renegade report is on wax, and it's like, you're right and you're right and you're right. You're wrong about one thing, everybody jumps your ass. And, you argue with people all year. Oh, we're going to beat LSU. I'm telling you. No, we're not. We're going to lose. We're going to lose to Clemson. Oh, well, we're not going to get Lester. This class just does not get elite talent. Oh, well, we get Lester. Not phased. You're saying the same thing about Bolden when that recruitment's up. And, you say Florida State couldn't have, there's no controversy. Florida State, they couldn't have competed. They're not going to beat Bama. They're not going to beat Texas. Okay. And this is the same person that's going to tell you right now the sky is falling and why are all these people leaving and stuff. Guys, it's obvious. It's a troll job. It's a thing for, engagement and stuff. Just don't play into it. Just relax. It's like Aaron Rodgers when he came back. I put it on the thumbnail. RELAX. Relax. The trajectory of this thing is headed one way. Mike Norvell is climbing. He's fixing the roster, upgrading the roster. Go down that list of 15 names. I'm not going to read it again, but I'm going to post an article first thing in the morning with everybody who's either in or out that we know for sure, and look up and down that list. And you tell me which one of those guys is a problem leaving, because they're not, just not. And a lot of people are worried about Tate possibly leaving if we bring in a transfer quarterback. I would absolutely hate that, and that would be terrible. But Brock Glenn would be just fine as the backup, and we'll have Luke in the wings. But I hope that doesn't happen. I hope Tate stays in battles, because we saw with Jordan Travis, there's a chance you're in the same position next year where it comes down to Brock Glenn and Tate Rodemaker for who's going to be the guy to get you, in your playoff game. There is no guarantee that a Cam Ward or a DJU is going to stay healthy all year. You just hope if that does happen, you can get them back after that month break, and it's not a season ender like Jordan Travis had. And sorry, I just got fired up and went on a rant since you kind of
no, you're
had
fine.
to go
I
hang
was
it, take care of business.
Somebody had sent a message about Texas's strength of schedule, and I was trying to look that up because apparently it's lower than Florida State's, which would not surprise me at all. Because and then in that Bill Hancock letter, he was talking about how these teams are better. And if anybody says the Big 12 is better than the ACC, guys, that's absolutely ridiculous. And I am not an ACC fan at all. The Big 12 is a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. The fact that a one-loss Big 12 team jumped an undefeated ACC team to me, who, by the way, was ranked 4 spots lower than they were.
It's a joke. It's a total joke.
There's no other words. And who beat a lower ranked team the same day Florida State beat Louisville? A lower ranked team who had gotten their ass kicked by San Diego State.
Well, let's read some stats, Jen. The conference records in the college football playoff. The SEC, 16-5, 6 titles. Obviously, they're the best. Who's second? Is it the Big 12 that you were talking about? Is it the Pac-12? Is it the Big 10?
So.
No. It's the ACC, 6-5, 2 titles. And people are going to say, oh, well, that's just Clemson. Well, yeah, that's who ran the Clemson during that stretch. The very year before the freaking playoff, Florida State won it all. So ACC the past decade has been hands down, everywhere you look, the second best conference, third if you want to look in some spots. But when you average up the titles, everything about it, at least there's no, it's a bunch of bullshit. ACC is a group of conference, and that's because Florida State isn't a part of it. They're leaving. They're done, and it can be its group of all by itself without Florida State because.
Do you have the stats of Texas's strength of schedule? I was trying to look it up, but I don't have my mouse up here, and my laptop is.
No, I can pull it up. No problem.
My laptop is being a little wonky when I try and just use the finger pad on it. I don't know.
Yeah, them finger pads are a pain in the neck. And don't forget, guys, the lines are open. We're getting pretty close to 2 hours, so we're not going to be on here too much longer. If you've got any questions or comments or a take you just want to get off, give us a call, and we will get you on. Yeah.
Plant the Sphere for Big 12 teams were G5. Absolutely, they were. Absolutely. It's honestly the most disingenuous thing I've ever heard when everybody sits there and goes, oh, well, Florida State's undefeated in the ACC and the ACC is weak. And yet you're propping up the Big 12?
It says 17 on here, but I don't see it.
That's like probably with the Alabama jump. That's the Alabama jump. If you take Alabama out of there.
Give me 1 second, buddy. What was it? All right. Well, she stopped talking. I was trying to let her finish her point, but you've got it, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So you're talking about the Big 12. That is definitely like that. Their conference is not better than the ACC. So I did a lot of research on this, and when you look at the number 2 Big 12 team, Oklahoma State, they got absolutely face punched by South Alabama.
Is this Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is Plant the Spear. Jesse Koger, if you didn't know. Sorry about that, man. I didn't have you saved on this one. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good, man. So yeah, Oklahoma State, the number 2 team in the Big 12, they go out and they get beat by South Alabama, 33-7. They beat Central Arkansas, 7-4 FCS team by I think 14 points. And then people don't talk about when Texas played Kansas, which was one of their ranked wins, number 24 Kansas. They had their backup in that game. Jalen Daniels did not play. So really, to me, when you look at their schedule as a whole, I mean, you got to think 4 of the Big 12 teams this year were Group of 5 teams last year, and none of them really did good their first year in Power 5 at all. So, I mean, how much are you really – right, like how much are you really advancing in 1 year in the Power 5? That money hasn't had a chance to pay off yet, or in the recruiting. And so, and even when you look at the Alabama team they beat, that was a team that benched their quarterback, Milroe, after that game, and then they went on the road and struggled with USF. So, to me, I think the committee should have looked at that game and said, all right, congratulations, you had a great win in Tuscaloosa, but at the same time, the rest of your schedule was dog shit, and Florida State's was at least – I mean, the ACC had the most bowl teams, so everybody – I think the middle meat of the ACC is better. And, like, I ran a bunch of numbers on an episode that we did. The ACC played the highest percentage of Power 5 out-of-conference games, the highest percentage of ranked out-of-conference games by far, and all the other teams, all the other conferences played a lot higher than the G5 teams. So the out-of-conference slate is not exactly fair. So I think people just really there's too many preconceived notions in strength of schedule where you're like, oh, it's the ACC versus the SEC, but they don't take the time to actually look at the numbers.
No doubt, man.
No.
We appreciate you calling in. You are absolutely preaching right there. It's
Yeah,
a joke, man. You can call us not number one if you want to argue somebody else is number one, but
not the Big
second or
12.
third is
I'm
as far as it
sorry.
goes.
I don't want to hear about.
Yeah, congratulations on 1,000 for sure. Love what you guys are doing over there. And by the way, man, either quarterback we take, I think it's going to raise our win floor. It's going to put us where we want to be. And competition is healthy for the team. You got to put the best player on the field. If somebody doesn't like that and they want to transfer out, then you know what, man, we're still ending up with the best player on the field. So congrats on 1,000, and man, keep doing what y'all doing.
Absolutely, man. We sure appreciate you calling in.
Can he hear me?
Right,
Can he hear me?
No, I don't.
Okay.
He can't hear you. I mean, he can hear you if
Sorry.
he's watching the show, which he is, so I'm sure he could, but
Okay, I was gonna say
he's
I want
gone
to
now.
see.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm gonna ask him in the chat which quarterback does he think we get? Because I like to know everybody's opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, he didn't give a pick, huh? He pretty much just
No,
said
he
either
didn't.
one.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it would be nice to know where he is leaning for sure. But
Because
Fatal Jedi came in. What's the only conference that has been able to take the Natty away from the SEC on a regular basis in the last 20 years? Absolutely. It's been the ACC. It's been Florida State or Clemson. Ohio State got one, but besides that,
yeah,
it's been the SEC and the ACC. Like that's it. They've got 3 or 4 of the teams that can compete, and the ACC has 2, and the rest of all the country have 1 here and 1 there. But for some reason, it's like, oh well, TCU. We don't want another TCU. Oh, the TCU that beat Michigan, the Michigan that got blown out the year before. It's like, but Michigan, they're automatically in, even though they get blown out and can't win a fucking game. They lost to the team who lost by 60, but.
And I need to go find this article, but I listen to everything, I read everything, but there was somebody who had looked at the strength of record for Clemson during those years. Florida State's is higher, and Florida State's strength of schedule was higher.
Well, think how down Florida State was for all those years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's like Clemson ran through, and the ACC now is a lot more improved with parity. I'm sorry. Clemson was running through the ACC like we were. It
was never a question. It was never a question until this year. It never happened.
It was never a question. This was, I don't know what I mean, I can't say the reasoning. I don't know. If they had put Texas at 4 and Alabama at 3, I would have said so that Michigan couldn't win. Oh, wait. Maybe that is what it is. So Alabama at 3 Oh, no. Okay, never mind. I remember what my new conspiracy theory is. I forgot. I go through a couple in my head. It's the ADD. I'm sorry. But so no, if they had put Texas at 4 and Alabama at 3, I would have said so Michigan didn't get humiliated in another playoff game.
Yeah. Well, Plant the Spirit came through, and he says that he thinks we get DJU. So it thinks, hey, it was Cam Ward early on, but it seems like things are slinging slowly toward DJU. As we reach 2 hours, I want to let you guys know, we wanted to do this thing, just me and Jen. We wanted to talk to you guys, have a great time, do the call-in show. We wanted to give away a little bit of money, give away those cards. But Sunday, we are back to bringing guests on, and we have a big-time guest coming this Sunday to talk Big Ten, talk conference realignment, talk Florida State getting left out, talk about the bullshit that Michigan being in this scandal is still their ass kissed and they're automatically in. We get a guy who is a wide receiver coach at Ohio State. He was formerly a GA under Urban Meyer at the University of Florida for all those tumultuous years down there. Zach Smith of the Menace to Sports podcast. Possibly Chris. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Chris. I told Zach he could come if he wants. So we'll see if it's going to be Zach and Chris. But for sure, Zach Smith, that's going to be Sunday, noon Eastern, right here at the Renegade Report on YouTube. That's at the Renegade Report. If you're watching on Twitter, get over there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will see you Sunday at noon Eastern. That show is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk to him and talk X's and O's, and I can't wait to get Jen together with Chris and let them go back and forth. It's going to, or Chris, excuse me, Zach. It's going to be a ton of fun, and yeah, y'all look out for that episode. It could break the internet.
I'm so excited. I just, how much I love that show. And okay, guys, in this chat, if you're still here live right now, please go look up Menace to Sports and go listen to his Swamp King story. It's amazing.
I can't wait to ask him about all that stuff.
It is amazing. Like, I swear to God, he said, like, at the end of his last episode of it, where he's going over it, he was like, I think I might do a part 3. And I'm P.S. still waiting on part 3, Zach. Still waiting on part 3.
Maybe we can get a teaser for part 3. Maybe we can get him to tease a few stories or something. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about.
It's so good. He's like, he goes over so much stuff. It's wild. It is wild.
Alrighty, guys. Well, me and Jen, we could talk to y'all all night. We could talk for 10 hours, but usually we cut them off around 2 hours. We're 4 minutes to 2 hours on this one. If you have any questions, comments, takes, anything before we get out, we always give y'all about 5 minutes. And so speak now or forever hold your peace. Get your questions in, get your take off in the next 5 minutes before we get out of here. But again, we really, really, really appreciate you guys. The support, especially the past month, has been amazing. And we've got some really, really exciting stuff for you guys planned. We're doing more production, going to have more cool clips and sounds and all that fun stuff for everybody. I know a lot of guys, I've had a bit of criticism in the comments. Some people like that kind of thing. We'll start cutting up some
which
highlights
ones?
And stuff like that. But we're moving at our own pace, trying to keep this thing as professional and tied together for you guys and keep you guys just up to date, where when you get to the water cooler, you can really know what's going on about Florida State, and you kind of be that person that knows what's going on. Cut through the bullshit and all the narratives that some of these different outlets have to push for clicks and different things and acting like the sky is falling. But that's not what we're going to do here. We're going to call it how we see it, like I have for the past year, like Jen always has on her Twitter, and like we have for the past month since she's been here as the co-host.
Yeah.
Got anything for the people before we get out of here, Jen? Doesn't look like we got any calls.
I would
coming.
honestly, before Sunday, if you guys have some downtime, I know it's the holidays, there's not a lot of downtime. Believe me, I know. But like before our interview Sunday, I hope you guys come join us live. Please do. But please go watch Menace to Sports Swamp Kings review. I'm telling you right now, you guys will be howling in your bed for 45 minutes laughing at the stories he's telling. It's truly amazing. And it's really a good show. And I think this is going to be a great interview. I think we're going to enjoy it. It's one of my go-to shows. It's seriously, I'm a subscriber. I'm a member of it. I love it. I'm such a fangirl with some of these things. It's very strange, but yeah, I'm really excited.
No, man, I'm fanning out on this one a little bit too. Look, it's very rare that you get a guy who is a part of that coaching fraternity, gets out of it and goes into TV or podcasting and is willing to expose the warts and talk about the reality of the situation. Take down the kind of the mirage, the Wizard of Oz thing, like get to the person behind the projector. He really breaks down and gets into those greasy story details that you don't get
Yeah.
from a Dan Mullen or any of these guys that go to ESPN or Fox Sports. So I'm super excited to have him on. We love you guys. It's all about the Noles. Fuck Miami, fuck Florida, all that good stuff.
Always.
We cannot wait to see you guys Sunday. That's it, man. We're going to get out of here. Go Noles. We will leave you guys with, I guess I can leave you guys with.
Do we do Kurt crying? Because I could do that again.
Oh, if I had it loaded up, I would do Kurt crying. But we're gonna just have to go off with Tate dancing. But we're gonna load up, like I said, we're gonna load that stuff up and have more and more fun stuff for you guys. But we will catch you guys next time. It is all about the Noles.